Maple Hollow was a quaint, picturesque town nestled deep in the forest, known for its stunning autumn foliage and serene atmosphere. However, beneath its charming exterior lay a dark, sinister legend that every resident knew well: the Curse of Abigail. In the early 1800s, Maple Hollow was founded by a group of settlers led by a stern man named Jonathan Thatcher. Among these settlers was a woman named Abigail Thorne, who had been accused of witchcraft. Though she was a healer who used herbs and natural remedies, the settlers grew fearful of her knowledge and abilities. When crops failed and children fell ill, whispers spread that Abigail was to blame. One cold October evening, the townsfolk gathered at the edge of the forest. Driven by fear and superstition, they bound Abigail to a stake and lit the pyre beneath her. As the flames rose and consumed her, Abigail cursed Maple Hollow with her dying breath. She swore that every 50 years the spirits of the executed would rise and claim the souls of the living. The curse became a part of the town's history, passed down through generations. Every 50 years, strange occurrences plagued Maple Hollow: unexplained shadows, eerie whispers, and animals behaving oddly. As the anniversary of Abigail's death approached, the town braced itself for another cycle of terror. Sarah and Tom, a couple from the city, were unaware of this dark history when they decided to move to Maple Hollow. Seeking a quieter life away from the hustle and bustle, they bought an old farmhouse on the outskirts of town. The locals greeted them with a mixture of warmth and caution. "Are you sure you want to move here now?" asked Mrs. Hopkins, the elderly woman who lived next door. "It's not the best time of year to be settling in." "We're not superstitious," Sarah replied with a smile, dismissing the old woman's warning as mere local folklore. The couple quickly fell in love with their new home. The autumn leaves painted the landscape in shades of red and gold, and the forest provided a peaceful backdrop. But as the days passed, they began to notice odd occurrences. Sarah often felt a chill in the air despite the warm weather, and Tom heard whispers in the night that he couldn't explain. One evening, while exploring the attic, Sarah found an old, tattered diary. It belonged to a young woman named Eliza, who had lived in the farmhouse a century ago. As she read through the entries, Sarah uncovered a chilling account of the last curse cycle. Eliza wrote about the eerie happenings in the town and how the spirits had claimed her brother's life. Disturbed but intrigued, Sarah shared the diary with Tom. They decided to investigate further, hoping to debunk the curse once and for all. They visited the town's historical society, where they met Mr. Fletcher, the curator. "The Curse of Abigail Thorne is not just a story," Mr. Fletcher said gravely. "I've studied the town's history extensively. Every 50 years, like clockwork, there have been disappearances and unexplained deaths." Undeterred, Sarah and Tom continued their research. They discovered that the next anniversary of Abigail's death was only a week away. As they delved deeper, the strange occurrences around them intensified. Objects moved on their own, shadows flickered at the edge of their vision, and the whispers grew louder. One night, Sarah woke to find Tom missing from their bed. Panicked, she searched the house and found him in the backyard, standing motionless under the full moon. His eyes were open, but he seemed to be in a trance. When she touched his arm, he snapped out of it, confused and frightened. "I don't remember coming out here," Tom said, his voice trembling. "Something's not right, Sarah. We need to leave." But it was too late. The anniversary arrived, and with it a thick fog enveloped Maple Hollow. The town was eerily silent, the usual sounds of the forest replaced by an oppressive stillness. Sarah and Tom barricaded themselves inside their home, but the spirits were relentless. That night, Sarah had a vivid dream. She saw Abigail Thorne standing at the edge of the forest, her eyes burning with fury. "You cannot escape the curse," Abigail whispered. "The debt must be paid." Sarah woke with a start, her heart pounding. She knew they had to do something to break the curse. Remembering the diary, she found a passage where Eliza mentioned a ritual that could appease Abigail's spirit. It required an offering of personal significance and a heartfelt plea for forgiveness. Desperate, Sarah and Tom gathered their most cherished possessions and ventured into the forest. The fog swirled around them, and the air grew colder with each step. They reached the spot where Abigail had been executed, now marked by a weathered stone. Kneeling before the stone, Sarah placed their offerings and spoke aloud. "Abigail Thorne, we seek your forgiveness. We ask for peace for Maple Hollow and an end to this curse." For a moment, the forest was silent. Then, a cold wind swept through, and the ghostly figure of Abigail appeared. Her expression softened as she looked at the offerings, and then at Sarah and Tom. "Your plea is sincere," Abigail said, her voice echoing through the trees. The curse will be lifted, but beware, any attempt to exploit the spirits again will bring a far worse fate." With those words, Abigail vanished, and the fog began to dissipate. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, then the forest seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. Sarah and Tom returned home, hoping they had done enough to end the cycle of terror. In the following days, the strange occurrences ceased. The town of Maple Hollow returned to its peaceful state, and the anniversary of Abigail's death passed without incident. The townsfolk, unaware of Sarah and Tom's actions, credited the calm to the spirits finally being at rest. Sarah and Tom continued to live in Maple Hollow, cherishing the tranquility they had fought so hard to secure. They kept Eliza's diary as a reminder of the town's dark past and their role in lifting the curse. Though they never spoke of that night again, they remained vigilant, knowing that the spirits were always watching, waiting for the balance to be disturbed once more. Years passed, and Maple Hollow flourished. The town became known for its rich history and beautiful scenery, drawing visitors from far and wide. But beneath the surface, the legend of Abigail Thorne persisted, a silent reminder of the fragile peace that had been won. One autumn evening, as Sarah and Tom sat on their porch, watching the leaves fall, they heard a faint whisper on the wind. It was a reminder that some things are better left undisturbed, and the past, no matter how deeply buried, can never be entirely forgotten. Also, in the end, just don't forget, it wasn't just a puppy, so you better click that subscribe button.